Most people think of the Philippines in terms of beaches, food, or its people's warmth. But behind the scenes, something remarkable is happening. The Philippines, a nation often underestimated, is quietly moving pieces on Asia's geopolitical chessboard. Not with flashy headlines or bold declarations, but with steady diplomacy, subtle maneuvers, and partnerships that are slowly reshaping the balance of power in the region. This is the story of how the Philippines is shaping Asia, quietly but powerfully. Asia has become the center of global attention. From trade wars to territorial disputes, what happens in this region now ripples across the world. At the center of it all lies the Philippines, geographically small but strategically massive. Sitting on the crossroads of the South China Sea, the Pacific, and Southeast Asia, the Philippines isn't just a spectator, it's a key player. And world leaders have noticed. The South China Sea is one of the most hotly contested regions in the world. Major powers like China, the United States, Japan, and Australia all have interest here. And right in the middle, the Philippines. For years, Manila was seen as outmatched, caught between superpowers. But recently, the Philippines has begun playing a different game. Instead of confrontation, it's using diplomacy. Instead of isolation, it's building coalitions. Manila has leveraged international law, specifically the 2016 Hague ruling, not as a weapon of war, but as a diplomatic anchor. By standing firm yet measured, the Philippines has positioned itself as a defender of international norms, a role that gives it surprising influence. One of the Philippines' greatest strengths is, honestly, its ability to talk to everyone. Unlike some nations that lean heavily toward one bloc, the Philippines has maintained lines of communication with multiple sides. It hosts joint military exercises with the United States and Japan. It cooperates on infrastructure with South Korea. It engages in trade with China, while also strengthening ties with Europe and ASEAN. This balancing act isn't weakness, it's strategy. By avoiding total alignment with just one power, the Philippines ensures that it stays relevant to all. It's a reminder that in diplomacy, sometimes being the bridge is more powerful than being the fortress. Here's where the Philippines' quiet diplomacy becomes truly fascinating. It's not a superpower, it doesn't have nuclear weapons or massive fleets. But that's exactly why its diplomacy matters. The Philippines represents the voice of smaller and mid-sized nations in Asia. Countries that don't want to be dominated by giants but also don't want to be ignored. By leading in ASEAN discussions, speaking up in international forums, and showing resilience in defending its sovereignty, the Philippines has become a middle power with influence far larger than its size. This is the essence of geopolitical chess, knowing how to play your role to maximum effect. The Philippines' diplomacy often works through subtle gestures that outsiders sometimes miss, allowing United States forces rotational access to key bases without making it a permanent occupation. Signing energy exploration deals with allies, but keeping the door open for regional cooperation, hosting dialogues on maritime security, while also engaging cultural and economic exchanges that soften tensions. These may not grab global headlines, but they shift the atmosphere. They shape narratives. And in international politics, perception often leads to reality. Let's not forget the allies watching closely. The United States views the Philippines as a vital treaty ally. Japan sees Manila as essential to regional stability. Australia and South Korea are expanding cooperation. Even Europe, from France to Germany, has begun sending ships and diplomats into the South China Sea, often in coordination with the Philippines. It's not just politics and military strategy that give the Philippines influence. It's also soft power. Filipinos around the world are, ambassadors of culture, hospitality, and resilience. Millions of overseas workers support economies abroad while remittances boost the homeland. Filipino nurses, seafarers, artists, and athletes create goodwill wherever they go. This soft power strengthens the credibility of Philippine diplomacy. When Manila speaks on global stages, it does so with the backing of a global community that knows and respects its people. Geopolitical chess isn't about winning every move instantly, it's about thinking several moves ahead. And honestly, the Philippines has shown a kind of patience that others often overlook. It knows it can't outmuscle larger powers. But it also knows that in diplomacy, survival and credibility are victories in themselves. By holding steady, building trust, and avoiding reckless moves, the Philippines is ensuring it remains a relevant and respected voice in Asia's future. So, why does all of this matter? Because Asia is at a crossroads. The choices made today will shape the region for decades to come, and the Philippines, through quiet but deliberate diplomacy, is helping steer that course. It's proving that influence isn't always about loud declarations or military might. Sometimes the most powerful moves are made quietly. The Philippines may not have the biggest army or the largest economy, but it has something just as valuable: credibility, connections, and courage. That's why, a growing number of analysts say the Philippines is playing geopolitical chess better than most realize. In a region where giants clash, the Philippines has carved out a role as a steady, balancing force. And in the long game of history, that may prove to be the smartest move of all.